Hello, 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 Sucio Talk. What's going on? Here we are live, third episode in, three episodes in, two. Sucio Talk, Sucio Talk. Live, live, live. So Joseph PRZ, what's up? Nathan Kryler, Camille, what's going on? Uh, Welcome to the live show. Nathan Kryler's up late again. Up on the East Coast, it's about 1 a.m. right now. So thank you for everyone tuning in over there. It's your Sucio Talk live after service Monday night. Monday night. Live on Twitch, live on YouTube as well. Uh, so just doing it. Let's get right into it right here. So it's the third episode in the series of this live business that we're doing over here. So every Monday we're going live and calling the show. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see the phone number flashing on your screen. If you're watching on IG, I don't have that technology yet. But the number, which escapes me because nobody can remember the goddamn number nowadays, it's 510-463-1145. All right? Yeah, we'll kick it soon, Trino. What up, Chef Josue? So call that number. Call into the show. I'd love to talk to you. Chefs, cooks, fucking hospitality people out there. Say what up. But let's hop into it. I just did a podcast with Elijah Attard out in Sydney. This is the first podcast that I did that was virtual. So he was, he was in Sydney. It was 4 p.m. over there, 10 p.m. over here, or 9 p.m. over here. And we talked for a little while, and we had a good Sucio talk. It's cool talking to people with different perspectives. You know, he grew up in Australia. It's a whole different game over there. He's a big forager. He's also a vegan chef. There's not that many vegan chefs out there. So shout out to you guys out there if you're doing it the vegan way. It's difficult. But I will say nowadays the products, the vegan butters and shit like that are a lot better quality these days. So, for example, I did a party where I needed to make a vegan out of place. Damn right, Nathan Kryler, we do got to talk. Um, Nathan reached out to me a while back. I haven't gotten back to you. I'm so sorry, Nathan. Apologies. But and this is the problem right here. This is what I'm realizing is that you do this live and you see the comments down there, which I appreciate. But then my train of thought, I get distracted and I look at it, and then it's all of a sudden I'm like, what the fuck was I talking about? So once again, I was interviewing Elijah Attard out in Sydney, first virtual podcast. Different perspective from him, growing up out there, cooking from the land and using a lot of ingredients that I got to use over the course of the 12 days, because there was a lot of Australian chefs that came out this way. And then I interviewed Adalia. It's all good, Nathan. It's all good, bro. It's all part of the learning process. So you're helping me out, chef. You know, I just got to get better. You know what I mean? It's all good. So then I interviewed Adalia Cole, Hungry Hungry Hooker. So you can check her out, her Instagram, who actually worked in the sex industry prior to being a food photographer. And I love the way that she's being accepted by the community, whether it's Michelin, she does photo shoots for them, New York Times, all these publications. So shout out to them for, opening that door for her to do that, break through, and I hope that that others break through as well. But shout out to, she's also doing a lot of speeches, going out and speaking about how hospitality and sex work are very similar. Basically, sex work is a form of hospitality. So, very interesting talk with her. That's out on YouTube right now, or Anchor, however you listen to it. Spotify as well for video. So I've been traveling between the Bay and Palm Springs. Okay, two different places for sure. I'm out here in the desert. It's dry as fuck out here. Even if it's raining, it's dry out here. But as you know, we've been getting a lot of rain, and I think that we should be grateful. Let's be grateful for this rain. I know that it could put a damper on our day, make us depressed, but really we should be happy that we're getting it because this takes away the possibility of having fires in the Napa Valley next year. You know, all this rainwater will prevent things like that from happening. So, you know, I hope the rain gives PG&E a fucking pass this year. You know what I'm saying? All those who live in Napa know what I'm talking about. So I'm traveling between the Bay and Palm Springs. Desert, weird place. It seems to me like all these places like Arizona, for example, where there's no native palm trees, and the wealthy people get there and they're like, all right, well, we want to live here. So if we're going to live here, then we're going to bring these palm trees. So people go grab fucking palm trees and they bring them to these locations where palm trees don't fucking exist, and they plant them, and then they build golf courses, and then they build malls, strip malls, right? And then people realize after a while that it sucks, and then they move back to the city, and they're like, "What the fuck happened here?" And then you have gentrification. So these fucking wealthy people come out here in the desert where water, you know, is very scarce. But here we are watering these fucking. You should see the amount of water out here that they're using on these golf courses. I mean, I'm at the golf course that's holding the American Express golf tournament this week. So that's why it doesn't look like my studio, because I'm down in Palm Springs. But anyway, live shows every Monday at 10. SucioTalk.com for merch. YouTube.com/SucioTalk for, you should please subscribe. Go over there, subscribe to the channel. Helps me out a lot. Anchor.com/SucioTalk if you want to listen to it in audio format. All right. So there's that. And something I was thinking about recently is personal chef versus restaurant chef versus institutional chef. All right. So 3 different types of avenues that you could take as you progress through your career in the kitchen, right? Is one better than the other? I think they all are necessary. I don't think one is better for the other. Depends on your circumstance, right? And that's why I was thinking about this, because I've done personal chefing now. I've done restaurant chef, and I've done a little bit of work on like apps and shit like that for cooks. Used some of those, and I ended up working at some institutional places, like some, you know, really big catering kitchens for hospitals and shit like that, where you're just doing one thing for 8 hours. Like I grilled chicken for like 6 hours. So it really makes you think where all those fucking chickens are coming from. So institutional chefs, restaurant chefs, personal chefs. So personal chef is it gets repetitive. Repetitive, why? Because if you think about it, when you're at home, for the most part, every week, you eat the same shit over and over again, right? Let's say in a month, right? On a weekly basis, every 4 weeks, you pretty much have the same kind of food, unless you like go out all the time. But even if you go out all the time, you still eat the same 4 or 5 fucking things, right? So as a personal chef, I realized that for the client that you're cooking for, half the time you are cooking the same shit that he or that person likes, right? And so I have cooked chicken piccata about 300 times now, and I gotta say I'm in love with cooking it now, because so chicken piccata is usually caper, parsley, lemon, butter sauce, right? So we've perfected it, right? So he says we perfected it. So basically it's butter poached chicken thighs. Butter poached chicken thighs with capers and butter. So what I do is I make I make the Bermonte with the caper juice in the jar, and I stir it in, and I mount it with butter, and then fucking um, I make the butter sauce. Then I poach the raw chicken thighs in there. But what I figured out is if you're poaching chicken thighs, you want to roll them. All right, so make sure that you roll them so they're like this shape. They're actually pretty tender when you cook them that way. So then I poach them in butter, and then there's the capers, and that's how he likes his chicken piccata. I've made that dish, no lie, about 50 times. I've worked for this man probably a collective of like 6 months. So there that is. So it's repetitive. You're cooking the same shit because that person likes the same shit. Especially if you're cooking for an older person, you know, uh, they already have their preferences. You can't really enlighten them on new food or turn them on to something that they, are willing to try, really. They already know what they like. So, and it's also taught me to be humble and be like, okay, that's what you like. Just make the fucking food that they like because they're paying you a certain amount of money to do that. Okay. It's also enlightening to hang out with people who are 80 years old. Okay. When I think about this, I'm like, not many people my age are hanging out with 80-year-olds on a regular basis, and it's kind of crazy because they're very honest, and you can ask them anything. And I mean, this dude was born in 1940, right? So I'm always asking him questions about the 40s and 50s, shit like that. Peace out, chef. Fucking, so it's repetitive and it's enlightening to talk to these older people and get to know about older generations and how people lived in the 40s and 50s and shit. Because I don't know that. We could read it, but it's better to know it from people that actually did it. You know, there's also a lot of creativity when you're a personal chef. So you get to cook foods from different regions that you wouldn't normally cook. If you work at a Korean restaurant, you're not going to be cooking Japanese food or Indian food, things like that. So when you're a personal chef, you get to kind of go into all different avenues of food all the time. So it's interesting. You also learn how to be a home cook again. So learn how to be a home cook. You learn how to use like bouillon cubes again. You learn to just be a little bit humble and understand that you're not going to be making your own stock all the fucking time. You know what I mean? So there's that. And also, when I got into this, I was like, man, I'm leaving the restaurant industry. I felt bad. And then I look at a guy like Gordon Ramsay, and he went and was a personal chef after his time at great restaurants for a little while to kind of, make some money and just breathe a little bit. And it worked out for him. I mean, look at Gordon Ramsay now. So it makes you kind of get off your high horse and understand. Like, I had this conversation with the man, right? I was like, all right. He's like, I like tomato salads. It's January. So I'm like, hey, look, I think that tomatoes are out of season and we're not really going to find great tomatoes. He's like, I don't give a fuck about the season. I just want to eat tomato salads. So when the man said this, I understood at that point that it's not about what you want. It's about what the paying customer wants, what the paying client wants. All right. So get off your high horse. Um, Nor cubes are the shit. Bro, Nor cubes are good seasoning for chicken wings. I learned that hanging out with the dudes from, or the chick from, what was it? Momofuku Kawi. The chef, the ex-chef from there, she makes these wings and then she puts a Nor powder on them. They're fucking delicious. So, personal chef, right? Then you got institutional chef. That's schools, cafes, clubs. By the way, you got my man Dan Giusti out here. Dan Giusti, who used to be the ex-chef of Noma, was posted. He's looking for some chefs out here in California for the school system. And, he's asking some, what's up, Francisco? Dan Giusti's asking some real questions. He's like, why do you cook? Is it for you? Is it for the accolade? or City of Mexico, what up? Or is it for them, for the guests, for whatever it is? So I thought that that was very interesting, and it got a lot of clout, a lot of shares and shit because it was right after that Noma article that we talked about last week. You know what I mean? So most of the time, institutional chefs are family people. They got kids in school. So they need to have some kind of regular schedule. When you work at restaurants or anything like that, um, you know, you can't really make a schedule. If they need you for Sunday brunch, you got to be there on Sunday brunch, regardless of like, oh, my kid is off on Sunday. You know what I mean? Um, Dan does make a legit point. So the family people, they got comfortable jobs. You got the 401k, you got the fucking health insurance, you got all the things that come with having an institutional chef job. It's not the worst. You know what I mean? A lot of people talk shit on it, but I think that if you're in a circumstance where it benefits you to have all those things, then I think you fucking do it. And then you got restaurant chef. It's aggressive, it's competitive, it's fast paced. There's more deadlines. It's hotter, right? It's less comfortable. These jobs out here, like the institutional chef, you got air conditioning in the kitchen, and sometimes these restaurants, the kitchen is hotter than the room, or how hot it is outside, right? The temperature outside, the kitchen is hotter than that. I've been in it. You know what I mean? So it's less comfortable. It's crazy. And as a chef, not only do you have to worry about the food costs, the storage, everything like that, but you also have to worry about dealing with everyone at different tones and speeds, right? Because not everyone can be managed in the same way. So it's managing these people and understanding that you need to react differently in different situations. It can't just be the same for everybody, right? And then restaurants also tend to be very negative. People start talking shit. You know how it is. Uh, I have, I think for me, I would like a restaurant that is honest. And if anybody has a problem, they can feel like open door policy. They could just bring it up in front of the team, and then you just, you know, um, can solve these issues together rather than falling into traps, arguing with each other, and not being able to deal with those situations. Um, give you an example. I worked at a ranch in Wyoming, and being a chef is hard because you part of your job is hearing bad news all day. You're preventing fires from happening. You're preventing shit from burning. It's high stakes, right? So when I worked at this ranch, the ranch workers, all they're there for is maintenance, right? Maintenance workers. You got to think about this. And this world where we're like, oh, I'm not feeling that great today. Like, think about having a job, right? As chefs, think about having a job that you're a ranch worker, you're a mechanic, you fix shit all day. You deal with broken shit. You deal with people at their lowest emotional point, right? Of that thing that they had to call somebody to come fix it. Imagine dealing with that. Like, at least when we're at a restaurant, we deal with people that are coming at you from most times from a happy perspective, right? They're coming to celebrate a birthday or whatever the fuck it is. So ranch workers they got it tough, man. They're out there and it's like, well, this broke again, and then we had to fix this, and then we had to get tan there, and then the horse broke down on the side of the road. So and I mean, I was there at this ranch in Wyoming. That's all they talk about. All they talk about. And I realized, I was like, man, you got to get away from this negative shit, even if it's facts. Even if it's facts, the people that are constantly bitching and moaning about the facts of life, you got to get away from those people, man. They're going to bring you down. All right? So restaurants, schools, apprenticeships. I wish I did an apprenticeship. I mean, look, saying I wish I did, I think is, when I catch myself saying it, I have to call it out because I wish I did. I heard that a lot during my road trip. I took a road trip across the country, and I had to get my oil changed and shit because I drove 14,000 miles in 50 days. okay, across the damn country doing podcasts. And I'm pulling into these places. It's like a fucking Jiffy Lube or whatever the fuck. And every time he's like, "Oh, California place. Like, where are you going? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm on a road trip. I'm going across the country." And then all I hear is, "Oh, I wish I could do that." And look, I know people have different situations. I understand that. Look, I did not make, I did that on my own fucking loot, my own money. I spent fucking a lot of money doing that shit that I made that summer. Like, not the best financial adult move, right? But I felt the need to get the podcast out there. I had to do what I had to do to get it to where it needed to be, to the point where you guys are here listening to this shit right now. Okay? So I wish I did. I don't want to say that anymore. I don't want to feel that way. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I need to do it. Not I wish I did. I will do it. I will find a way to do it. Like, look, if you smoke weed and you want to smoke weed, you smoke weed. That's what I'm saying to you. If you can make that happen, you can make anything happen. You know what I mean? If you can make watching an Instagram live happen, you can make fucking anything happen. Okay, so please use your power for good out there. Fucking get to it and get rid of that I wish I did attitude. You can do that shit today, tomorrow. But I got off topic there. If you leave the restaurant industry, it is hard to come back. Because I've been talking to some fucking, you know, recruiters, and they've been telling me, "Oh, on your resume, it looks weird because you took this year off." And I'm like, "Motherfucker, I've been working." You know what I mean? Just because on my resume it says that I have a catering company and I do events, it makes it seem like I'm a bum. Oh, it seems like you took a year off. It's like, go fuck yourself, my man. You know what I mean? Telling me that my resume isn't good enough. They're like, they don't. They're like, he goes, um, yeah, me and my colleague were talking about your resume, and you know, people don't really know this Costow guy. And I was like, you know what, man? I don't want to work for nobody that doesn't know who that is. You know what I mean? Like, you at least have you don't have to like the guy. You at least have some base knowledge of who the fucking 3 Michelin star chefs or Michelin star chefs have been, right? If you're in the industry, you know that shit, regardless of if you like them or not. Okay? So that shit pissed me off. But anyways, so talking to these recruiters about fucking being a chef somewhere. So if you need an executive chef, let your boy know. Willing to relocate somewhere warm. But no, I'm doing a few trials soon and recently. So let's see how it goes. I think I'm ready to get back in the game. I'm ready to have this show have some kind of basis. Because as I go here, I'm like, what am I living on my past glories of being a chef somewhere that I don't even fucking live in the town anymore? Like, people like to say that, oh, I staged there, I worked there. Who gives a fuck? All right, what are you doing today? Nothing? You know what I mean? So, and you hear it all the time, man. I used to do this, I used to do that. And I've come to the point of the realization that you got to keep going, man. Ain't no stopping, ain't no living on no past successes, trying to extend that or some shit like you got some kind of clout. Man, you ain't shit. And these are the conversations I have with myself every day. but I'm trying to be more positive, okay? So recruiters, bitch ass recruiters. And I was talking about Brigade Dan Giusti, Noma article. The Noma article came out with a bang. Everybody talked about it. Then Dan Giusti came out and be like, yo, everybody's asking me about this motherfucking headline about Noma, but nobody asking me about a job. And he's got jobs right now in high school kitchens, high school kitchens, all right, where you can change the game and change what a fuck yeah, Jorts 94954. Thanks for the love. Um, get real chefs into institutional places like schools. Like, how cool would it be if Thomas Keller was a lunch lady? No, I'm just kidding. But I'm serious. They got good benefits. They got good shit going on over there. Check it out. I think there's a school in Point Reyes that's looking for a chef. But brigade.com, I think, is what it is. So go on that website, check them out. Um, and I just think that from that, meaning like he's been trying to get people to be apply to this job for a while. I always see his posts on Instagram, and he's like, this is when I get the attention. When it's this negative, like, we want to talk about Noma. We want you to talk shit about Noma. You know what I mean? And Dan's like, yo, I ain't about that shit, B. I'm trying to put some good chefs in some schools and change the game. Okay? So, but we love the drama. We love the headlines. We're fed so much media every day. We overeat information. And, that's why everybody, hey, what are you watching right now? I'm watching Jeffrey Dahmer on Netflix. It's like, you got to be fucking crazy to watch Jeffrey Dahmer on Netflix, B. Like, I'm sorry for everybody that has watched that show, but, like, I could not, it's just, like, there's one thing of horror, but there's one thing to make a dramatization of some shit that really went down like that. Victims' families. I mean, dude, I never want to go out like that to the point where they're making movies about some dude. Because it ain't about you. The movie's not about you. You know? You just get murked out here. You look horrible. And you forever go down in history by getting murdered by that dude. So, watch your back out here. I'm not saying don't be nice to people, but watch your fucking back out here, B. People are going crazy. And good news is never good enough. Bad news is never bad enough. So we always want more bad news. Constantly seeking more. So you got to starve yourself, man. You got to get off the Instagram. Get off the live feed. And make sure that you're taking some time for yourself. Because even I do it, man. Stay on here, you get outraged. You're like, what the fuck's going on with the world? And it's not good, I even asked myself, like, I made this live show. It's at 10 p.m., and then I'm asking people to stay up now. Now people got to fucking stuff. All right, let's do a morning show. I don't fucking know, but I'm just going to keep going and keep doing. And I know that, hard work will eventually get me to where I need to be, So live every Monday at 10 p.m. You can call in. Call in right now to the number. That number is, I always fuck this up. Never have it ready. 510-463-1145. 510-463-1145. You can be on the show. Recorded forever. And this is what I plan to do next time that I do a show. I'm just gonna start fucking calling people and be like, you are live on Sucio Talk. Okay? How about that? Like that? Like that shit? So Sucio Talk on YouTube. YouTube.com/@SucioTalk/@SucioTalk. YouTube.com. Check it out. On Twitch. Also live on there. And Facebook too. Facebook also goes hard on the live. So happy that that's happening. You know what I mean? Here we go. Martin Luther King Day. It's kind of crazy what I've seen today online and just the way that they use his image and certain things to sell tickets to concerts and shit like that. You know, I really don't think that that was the dream, and I think we just gotta stop. You know, it's funny. Some of it's funny, but it's not cool, man. It's not cool. Shout out to Chef Diego Moya. We got to do another episode. Just see him popped up on the Instagram. I have your episode, and I'm trying to edit it. I might send it to you to see if you want to release it. There's just a bit of rain that happened. We did it at June Wine Bar in Brooklyn during the road trip, and the rain kind of canceled the audio a little bit, but I'm working on it. So shout out to you, Chef. I think he might be in New York right now, which is pretty fucking late, dude. You got to go to bed. Anyways, so Martin Luther King Day. Um, I don't even know. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Like, what the fuck? You know, like it's all bad. But instead of going on Instagram and posting something, like maybe we need to act. Maybe we need to go out and do something different than what the fuck we've been doing out here. You know, um, have benefit dinners surrounding Martin Luther King Day. You always want to celebrate Christmas. Everybody always want to celebrate, all the other holidays, but this one never gets any love. And holiday, I just don't know. Anyways, um, Graham Avenue, Puerto Rico, Graham Avenue off Puerto Rico in New York got taken down because of the image. Baydestrian 30. What restaurants am I hitting up these days? In the Bay, Kin Cows got my heart. They're always doing it right. Palmet in Oakland. Palmet in Oakland is dope. That's a K&J Orchards. They do the food. Slug Bar, Snail Bar doing their thing. Slug Bar's got a guest chef thing going on soon, so check that out. I think it starts right now. I think they got them going on there. Every 30 days they're changing the chef over there at Slug Bar. So as you know, Spencer Horvitz opened the restaurant. He is no longer there. He's, I believe, doing private events and shit like that. So I'm sure um, you'll see him on the scene pretty soon. He was hanging out with the Osito people doing the slow burn pop up. Oh, I know that I said that the slow burn podcast was going to be up. It did not happen. They had to cut back to LA. Shit got fucked up with timing. It's all good. All right. What's important is that we're going to do one at some point. So, everyone out there, just stay tuned for that. All right. We're going to do one with Slow Burn, talking to a few other people about doing a show. And getting more people to call in on the live show. That's the most important thing. People need to call in on the live show. We're gonna do one with Slow Burn, talking to a few other people about doing a show. It's crazy because I just put myself on live on YouTube, and it's just kind of weird because it's lagging by 10 seconds. Whatever I'm saying now is playing in 10 seconds in the future. In the YouTube future. Whoever's watching it on YouTube, I'm not sure. But that's the spot to watch it, if any. YouTube, Facebook, also here, 10 p.m. Mondays live, Sucio Talk. Okay? Let's keep plowing ahead here. Graham Ave of Puerto Rico. They're basically, what they did was they took down a sign that said Graham Ave of Puerto Rico. And now they put it back because that place is heavily populated with Puerto Ricans and it's part of the culture there, right? So they're pissed off because they're like, what the fuck you trying to do? And the gentrifiers are like, yo, we need to move this Puerto Rico off the fucking sign because people don't want to move here because they think it's dangerous. reason to think we're dangerous because we fucking are. You understand? So there that is. Anyways, so shout out to Taina Sisters for putting that on their Instagram. Um, some, what do you call it? Awareness. What is awareness without action? Fucking nothing. All right. Just had a conversation about statehood for Puerto Rico. People don't know shit about Puerto Rico, and they claim to know. Even I don't know as much as I should fucking know? As much as I should know? There you go. But hopefully, we can come out on the other side of this and people will just understand a little bit more about why things are the way they are and the history of people and the you know generational suffering that occurs and the mental health that is not that great that surrounds all that shit, disease, a lot of shit. But yo, Chef Jihei Kim, Chef G.A. Kim from Miss Kim Ann Arbor, Michigan. And I mean, she's got the list of accolades out here, son. Food and Wine Best New Chef 2021. Beard Foundation finalist 2020 and 2022. Plate Magazine Chef to Watch 2022. Why We Eat Kimchi Munchies video on YouTube out here. So check that video out on YouTube. It's called Why We Eat Kimchi. It's on Munchies on YouTube. It's a cool thing here. Let me hit this wave button over here. I don't know what there you go. I waved at you. Shout out to everybody that's coming in on the live, that's watching this on YouTube, that's watching this on Twitch. Trying to get this out there, you know what I mean? Tell your friends. So shout out to her because she's doing this thing called the sliding scale menu, where they help out people that are in a pinch or can't afford to eat there. And basically, it's like a pay it forward kind of program, funded with grants. And they also say that there people that are too shy to go to food banks. You know what I mean? I think that's important. I think that sometimes, we've all been there. We've all struggled with money. And sometimes when you struggle with money, you become quiet about it. And that's not the way to deal with it. So if you got that trouble, you got to find people that can help you through it. That way you don't end up making more mistakes and getting yourself further into it. You know what I mean? In other news, Per Se raises their price from $390 to $425, son. From $390 to $425 to eat at Per Se. That's crazy. But hey, I mean, they're probably trying to pay their people well. And shit's expensive, bro. Eggs are fucking $10 a carton now, and butter's like $6 a pound. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? It's hard, man. Like, you go out, you can't feed yourself for under $20 anymore, unless you're going to McDonald's and eating shitty. So I hope everybody out there is eating well. So I hope that they want to use that extra loot to pay their people appropriately. And then I had this thought, like, when does inflation end? Will it ever end? Like 1,000 years from now, will everyone just have $1 million? Will a house cost $1 billion and it's just normal? Just like, oh man, I can't believe the price of houses. Cause it's just, I mean, isn't it all made up money at the end of the day anyway? Just like computer screen numbers. Like, unless you have gold and guns and like assets, do you really have anything? I don't know, man. It's a lot of fucking questions with no answers. We reached a world where if you're a millionaire, you have more problems than you do if you don't. You know what I mean? Shout out Trick Dog, celebrating 10 years. 10 years. So shout out to Trick Dog. And then shout out to Coleman Griffin out at Restaurant Sour in Japan. Coleman Griffin out in Restaurant Sour in Japan. Andrew Cheng was just there. Mei Lin was just there. Congratulations to Mei Lin on her engagement to Andrew Scala, chef at Cut DC in Rosewood, Washington. Shout out to her. Mei Lin did the podcast a year ago. Very nice lady. She rolled me a couple joints before I got on the road. So super pumped that I was able to do that with her. Um, and she's a badass, man. She's out there. She's got her umame line that has chili crisp. Chili crisp out here. So she's got the chili crisp line. She went on Top Chef. She won Top Chef. She was a chef of a restaurant in SF that I'm forgetting right now. But anyway, don't matter. Maylin, shout out to her on her engagement. And, I think that I need to be able to do this show for about an hour every week. And you can call in. Once again, you can call in, get on the show. 510-463-1145. And I'm actually, you can text that number too. Text it, let me know what you think of the show, what you want to see on the show, what chefs you like right now, restaurant stories, all types of shit. I flew down here instead of driving. It's like 8 hours to drive from Oakland to Palm Springs. It's a long way, long drive. I could do it, but I was just like, it's just more comfortable to not drive because then you got to drive back. It's not about going to the place. It's always about getting back. Getting back is worse. So hopefully I can figure out a way to have two cars, one down here, one up there. I got rid of my Charger that was engineless, so that's done. And then I have my Camaro, which I'm happy with. I always want to sell the Camaro, but then I'm like, you know what? I have a strong bond with that Camaro. I went across the country with that Camaro. So, you fall in love with it. It was my home on that road trip. There was some days where I was so far away from everything and everyone on the road on my own. And I know how isolating you can feel sometimes. Even if you're surrounded by people, even if you're doing what you said you want to do. That, and chefs know that the most, man. When you have those hard services, you turn around and you ask yourself, you're like, is this really what I want to do? Because there's a lot of things that you could do that are a lot easier. And a lot less stress and a lot less yelling. And so, if I were to look at it, I want to look back at life and know that I fucking did my best and I lived my best life and I fucking had an adventure. An adventure of a fucking life and time. And children running around, evading taxes. I've also thought of this. You could do it all right. You could go to school. You can fuck off, not do it, or I'm sorry, be successful. Um, do anything it takes to get there. Leave a legacy for your family, and then your kids come around and fuck it up. They fuck it up for you. So just don't be so hard on yourself, okay? Because if you were more successful, somebody be trying to fuck it up for you, okay? So just chill out, and yeah, we'll see where it takes us. So for the next podcast that I'm hoping will be up in Oakland at the studio. If not, this is much different. This is not the studio, right? This is in Palm Springs at an undisclosed location. I think I just told you where the fucking golf tournament was. So if you've been with me, you know where I am. But don't come here because I will not open the gates. Okay. Um, Ilya Romanov, I believe Ilya Romanov is having I guess they're having a toast, like a little celebration for him. And I think it's the 28th. 28th. You can go and hang out with them. 22nd, I'm sorry, 22nd. 5 p.m. to close. 2310 Polk Street. Celebration of Ilya's Romanov's birthday. And, as you know, he passed away. I was going to do a podcast with him. I was texting with him when all of a sudden, that happened to him. I don't know the reason why. And, I don't think that it's important. I think what's important is that we are supportive of that restaurant and that family. And the GoFundMe, they got a GoFundMe out there that you can check out through the Bar Iris Instagram. As you know, Nisei got a Michelin star this year thanks to Ilya Romanov's efforts, as well as Chef David Nisei. So if you can go down there and show them some love, I'm sure that they would love to have you in and see what it's about. So, a lot of shit going on. And then Chef Elijah Tard from Sydney, talking about him earlier about the whole vegan ingredients. And I think that right now I'm recapping a story that I was telling a little bit ago. So here we go. I recently was cooking a dinner and there was a vegan person. So then I had to cook with vegan butter, and there was a good brand that I used, and I forget what it is now, but I guess there's only 2 brands that you should use, and I will know the one if I hear the name. We'll hear what that is. But super cool that he's doing tasting menus that are vegan. There's not many chefs that are doing that. There's not many restaurants that do that. I think that I would like to employ many vegan techniques and ingredients to my restaurant. Not be a vegan restaurant, but definitely be my goodness. Lost it there. The action group joined and they threw me off here. Hello, I will wave. Oscar Grossman, what is going on, dude? It's fucking late. Go to bed. Vegan tasting menu, Chef Elijah Attard. I know that's what I was just talking about. It's cool that he's doing that. There's not many restaurants like that. I think that I want to, have a lot of vegan options on the menu, but not necessarily say that it's a fucking vegan restaurant, So there's that. So check it out. Follow me on Sucio Talk. Come to the show next week. It's not that big yet, but one day it will be. You know, one day you'd wish you called. One day you'd wish you said something. And when I can't get to you, don't be upset now. Okay? But I think I'm gonna sign off. Okay? Sucio Talk. This has been a live broadcast. I've been broadcasting for 50 minutes. I'm getting kind of the understanding of how much material is needed to uphold an hour. Okay? I have a lot of shit to talk about, but I need to make sure that this show is structured. So I will sign off now. All right? By the way, I did not have an SD card with me, so this is not recorded. It probably won't go on my fucking Spotify, but it will be on the YouTube. It will be on the Facebook, so check it out, okay? Sucio Talk. Peace.